and he is going to get past any corner that they have, so they have to draw back a safety to cover him.
Kylan, Southeast Missouri's coming off of a 40-27 loss to Southern Illinois, who was ranked number 7 at the time, and now you have to come in here and you got to play the number 1 team in the country in FCS football. How does that go for morale for them, going into having to play one tough game and now have to play another one? And then they have an FBS opponent in Missouri next week as well.
Well, Carlos, I feel like the pressure is definitely going to be on for them. I mean, you've got players here at SHSU like Eric Schmidt, their start quarterback, with already 268 yards with 3 touchdowns. I mean, and you've got Jaquez Ezzard, who is one of our star players. And then you've got Trevor Williams, who was just named Defensive Player by the WAC Conference. So going up against a team that just won a national championship, and then our players like this, the heat's definitely on. They're definitely, I feel like, going to have to make a lot of adjustments. But with that being said, I feel like we still have to watch out for them, just like any other team.
And now, Ashlyn, looking at Sam Houston, for them entering 1-0, having that big win against Northern Arizona, 42-16 last week in Flagstaff. First win for them in a dome stadium not named NRG. What are you going to do to come out here with a victory against Southeast Missouri State?
I think definitely since the last game, how they blew them out of the water, Arizona, I think they're going to come in headstrong. This is the first tailgate since 2019. All of the students are here. The fans, the stadium's going to be packed. I think they're just going to feel out the energy that they didn't have, playing other home games, and really just blow Southeastern Missouri again.
We'll take a look at that more in the next one. Taking a look at some of the highlights that came from last week, starting with Northern Arizona and Sam Houston last Thursday. Again, an exciting matchup that it was. Sam Houston coming out on top 42-16. Obi, it didn't come right from the get-go, though. Out of the gate, some of the rust was starting to kind of fall off for Sam Houston, having such a quick turnaround, a 4-month turnaround, having to come back and play some fall football.
Well, that's what you get from being national champions. You always find a way to come out on top. It doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. Sam Houston's able to get it done. They haven't lost a game in over a year. Sam Houston is going to come out on top every single time they are faced with an opposition, and I see no difference here tonight.
Kylan, as you see it there, some of the defense making some big plays. And, of course, you see guys like Ramon Jefferson as well rocking it offensively, as you saw against Northern Arizona. They're going to be looking for that same thing here today.
Yeah, I definitely think that's something to look out for. And then also, I just feel like SHSU, we're going to have to make some adjustments with a player like that. And looking at these highlights, I definitely think this is going to be a game to watch, because Southeast Missouri State and Sam Houston State University, this is the first time that they've clashed since 1964. So I feel like that's definitely going to be a game. This is going to be a very interesting game for both of them.
I definitely think that even if we do start off a little rocky, something happens in that halftime and they pick it up and they just keep scoring to, most of the time, and you saw over the last year, win those games.
Looking at the other side for Southeast Missouri State, like we said, coming off of a 47-21 loss to the Southern Illinois Salukis. Not the most optimal game that you want if you're head coach Tom Matukowicz of the Red Hawks. And Southern Illinois, they came to play, Obi, and like I said, Southeast Missouri's going to have their hands full tonight as well, based off of what happened last week.
See, I'll give them credit. They face against the Huskies, who Jeremy Chin, an NFL Carolina Panther safety. The Huskies have an NFL caliber defensive coordinator. They were facing some pretty good talent over in Southern Illinois. However, now they're facing the Bearkats, the defending national champions.
And then Kylan for the Red Hawks, having to deal with a tough team. The Salukis, they were in the spring playoffs, dealing with another team that was obviously in the spring playoffs here today. What adjustments do they need to make?
I think they really need to focus on the play at hand. I think they really need to make adjustments on the field. I think that they really just need to come together, and I think playing a team like SHSU as a national championship, Sam Houston's going to want to keep that title. They're going to uphold that title, but I definitely think that the Red Hawks, they need to make any adjustment that they can.
I think definitely because they're going to have their defense, because our offense, with Eric Schmidt, We make the plays, we throw. Ezard, he does run, and I think their defense is going to really have to, come to the plate and try and stop us, Carlos.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a lot of blitzing today from southeast Missouri. The Bearcats last week had a very well-balanced run and pass game last week, with Ramon Jefferson leading the way with over 285 yards rushing and 275 yards passing. It's gonna be a tough matchup.
With that, we'll hand things off to our own PJ Hessner and Rodrigo Mendoza as they talked to students across campus earlier this week, get their thoughts on the game that is to come.
Segment, Cat on the Street. I'm TJ Hessner.
And I'm Rodrigo Mendoza, and we're getting you ready for the game against Southeastern Missouri. And in preparation of all that, we're just going to ask random Bearcats on the street random questions. Whatever they think, hopefully it's the right answer.
Simple enough. Should be simple enough.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Do you know what a Bearcat sounds like?
No, not really.
Honestly, don't even think Bearcats are real. Didn't even know a Bearcat was a real animal.
Really don't even know what a Bearcat is, to be honest with you.
If you had to just guess, what do you think a Bearcat would sound like?
Yeah. Like something like that.
I only know how to meow.
Could sound like a platypus.
Okay. I don't know what that sounds like.
I feel like a Bearcat makes like a weird noise.
Like a roar. Come on. Grrr. In your chest. Come on.
Bearcat Bearcat.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta do with my chest. Okay.
Perfect. Like get there. 1, a 2, a skiddly diddly do.
Ah!
It's better.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Better. I don't know. That was pretty good. Just scared me for a second. Ooh, okay. Do you know where the mall is on campus?
No, I don't. There's not a mall.
The mall? Or like, I guess you could, the mall, the plaza, whatever. We actually have one. No.
Depends on how you define mall, I guess.
There's a mall on campus?
There is a mall on campus.
Well, I didn't know. Mall? No, I did not know there was a mall on campus, no.
The mall area?
Okay. Yeah, like the center of campus, like the plaza maybe? I don't know.
Like if somebody said, hey, did you know we have a mall? I would have been like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But I've heard of the mall area. Where is it? It's in LSU, right?
One of these is a actual Sam Houston Bearcat football player. Is it Jaquiza Zard or Braxton Miller?
I would say Jaquiza Zard.
Yeah, isn't that the guy that got the touchdowns last year?
Nice! Y'all two got it.
I'm watching you.
Yeah, good job. Braxton.
Go with Braxton Miller.
Definitely Jaquiza, yeah.
Better pronunciation than me.
Playing the Red Hawks. Who do you think would win in a fight? A Red Hawk or a Bearcat?
Well, Bearcats are small, and Red Hawks, they can see well, but they can't really fist fight, So they don't have like thumbs or like paws. So I think the Bearcat would probably tear it up.
Definitely a hawk. I feel like a hawk would just pick up the Bearcat and fly away.
A Bearcat. The Bearcat would fly away with it, or?
No, like the hawk would pick up the Bearcat with its claws and then just.
I don't really have a great opinion on this, but I think a Bearcat would win.
I feel like a Bearcat because we are Bearcats. Do you know who the mascot is?
Like his name? Like his name? Yeah. Sammy the Bearcat.
Sammy the Bearcat? Mm-hmm. That's his name?
Yes.
That's really rude. He's a human being. It's really rude to call animals.
Okay, so how do y'all feel about the rumors though that the mascot's gonna get changed? Apparently, we want something a little bit more inclusive for the entire cat family. Apparently, it's the kittens. What do you feel about that?
The kittens?
Yeah.
No.
Tiny little
Like
things.
bear kittens?
Right.
No, like actual kittens.
Probably not.
It's too soft, too subtle.
Yeah, too soft.
Okay. Alright.
I'm all about inclusivity, but I don't know if that makes sense to me.
Well, there's been a little bit of a quarterback controversy too going on within the football team. Apparently, Colton Cowser is going to be the starting quarterback for the Bearcats this weekend. How do you feel about that?
I have no comment because I don't know who that is.
Know him, but I mean, he's better than dead. Like, we're trying to eat this year. So.
I don't really know about that.
If you're watching this,
right.
Come on,
we gotta eat him up.
Eat them up, guys. All right, we're done. Good job, y'all.
Good job, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Period. Bye.
Good.
Bye.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Eat them up, Cass.
Something. That was a lot of fun. Now, I think I'd have to say my favorite part of that, the Bearkat, like the sound a Bearkat makes. You want to try it?
Carlos, do you want to try your best Bearkat noise?
I don't know if I could.
I think you should give it a shot.
I don't even know.
Go ahead,
I wouldn't
Carlos.
even know where to start.
I'll go
on that.
first.
Go ahead.
So I'm thinking a bear mixed with a cat, of course. So maybe a. Rawr.
Okay.
Maybe
That kind of sounds like a tiger.
Yeah.
They might change the noise in the Coliseum.
Just to that.
Yeah,
Just
they
to
might
that.
take
That
this.
sound bite.
Yeah, I'm
They
gonna go
might take
record it.
that.
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
record
go.
it right
Yeah,
after.
send it right down.
I'd recommend
I think
that.
that's gonna go far.
We continue on here on the Bearkat Countdown. Really to kick off here, Southeast Missouri, Sam Houston coming up here in a bit. Looking at the WAC A-Sun Challenge standings. New thing this year. Hopefully just a one-year thing going forward. The Western Athletic Conference pairing up with the A-Sun, but looking at the WAC in general, Stephen F. Austin, they have one win that doesn't quite reflect it, but Sam Houston has a win as well. Lamar did not play their game last week against the D2 opponent. Abilene Christian was 0-1 after a loss to SMU. And then Dixie did not play last week. Tarleton losing to SFA, of course, so they're obviously going to be 0-1. So not much to go off of right now, Cody, but really this is going to be a really tough division given that not everyone that's currently in the WAC played in the spring.
I think today and tomorrow are going to be rough days to be SFA fans after they face Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a highly renowned school, and SFA's football program I don't think holds a candle up to Texas Tech's. Texas Tech is going to blow SFA out of the water, and I wouldn't be surprised to see SFA down the leaderboard a little bit further on from today.
And Kylan, looking at other teams, like Lamar and Tarleton and Dixie, kind of the smaller schools in the conference, but competitive as well. So what are they going to have to do to try and deal with the powerhouses like SFA, Abilene Christian, and, of course, Sam Houston?
Well, Carlos, like you said, not a lot of teams have played. I think there is a lot of leeway room to make adjustments. There's a lot of improvement I feel like that any team can make, but as I said before, any adjustment they can make is going to have to be prepared to go up a team like SFA, like Sam Houston, so they just need to be more prepared.
Ashlyn, we'll talk about it more when we get close to wrap up about what's to come up ahead. But for Sam Houston, they have tough opponents coming up after this game against Southeast Missouri State. They have Central Arkansas. They have, of course, the rival SFA in Houston on October 2nd, and they come back to Bowers against Lamar on October 9th. This is going to be a tough stretch for Sam Houston. What do they got to do to keep it up?
I think definitely we do have to be on the lookout for Central Arkansas. We don't have a game next week. We have a bye week, but Central Arkansas does play 2 more games. So we have to be on the lookout to see their scores. Do we need to be more aggressive? Do we think we got it? So I think we have to really be on the lookout for that next game and just keep doing what we're doing and just be very aggressive.
And now, folks, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about what really today is all about. Today, of course, this is the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. Some very heinous attacks that happened 20 years ago, and we remember it here today. This is First Responders Night, where we're going to honor our first responders here at Sam Houston and abroad. So for everybody that was impacted by those events, our hearts and our thoughts and prayers are with you today as we remember those terrible events that happened 20 years ago.
Now, over the week, we talked to Coach Keeler and a couple of the players, Cody Kress and Javon Leon. We talked about expectations for this Saturday's game, what they need to improve from last week. So we're going to throw that to you right now.
Into week 2, you guys put up 41 points last week, but what are the areas offensively you guys are looking to clean up heading into Southeast Missouri?
I think we just need to stay consistent and make sure we're not turning the ball over. Sometimes, we have some good drives. We get a little bit of a lead, and then we start to coast a little bit and give them some time to gain some momentum. And I think we just need to understand that even though we have a lead, the game's not over. We need to keep pushing. We need to keep driving, and we need to keep running up, maintain the momentum, keep the defense off the field, and make sure we don't turn over the ball.
I was just wondering what it was like from a player, what it was like to be back on the field after 110 days.
This may be sort of an unpopular opinion, but I kind of appreciated the short turnaround, given that I was able to recover and come into the season fully healthy. And I say that because I don't think I really had any rust to knock off. Sometimes you get a long break and you're off the field for a while, and then you put on the helmet, you put on the pads, and you got to knock off a little bit of rust. And I felt like, at least for me personally, and it looks like for the rest of the guys, we kind of went into the season, fresh off, that great season we had in the spring and just kind of rolling.
We got questions for Javon Leon this morning. Let's go ahead and start with Mike Lucas.
Coming off that game, you guys only gave up 16 points. How much better do you think this defense can be in week 2 now that you have a game under your belt?
Well, I knew like the first game we was gonna be rusty because we coming off a national championship, so I knew a couple guys was gonna be rusty for the games. But as the season go on, I think we're gonna be a better team as we was last year, and we're gonna just keep going forward.
How excited are you, and do you think that this team is to be able to be back at Bauer Stadium on Saturday and play in front of the home crowd?
Man, I can't wait. It's just like, it's the feeling like I just want to play already, It's just like we can't wait for the fans to come out and just support us. And we really appreciate them last year supporting us, and I hope they come out and just bleed orange.
All right, you got Coach Keeler on the line.
Saturday is going to be a somber day. It's the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I know that we'll be honoring first responders. I know that you're from the Northeast. Just what impact does that have on you and just your guys coming up on Saturday, Coach?
Yeah, So we had a bye week. Wife was at the gym. I was getting a run in. I get in. I see the planes crash into the towers. We're playing Jersey City the next weekend, right in Jersey City. When you would play up there, you could see the towers from the game field. So I took my team up a week later, and you could still see it smoldering. Emotion. Had players who had relatives in the towers. It was tough. It was really hard. And every time this comes up, it's so vivid. Also, one of the things I do remember, I remember watching A&M play. And they had the red, white, and blue in the stadium. It brought me to tears. So we will talk about it, and I will get emotional because, again, I was so close to it. A lot of our kids that we recruit, at the little school I was at, Rowan University, are North Jersey kids. And so a lot of family members have friends or family members that were in those towers. And again, it was just so surreal playing a ball game at Jersey City and looking across and still seeing the smoke smoldering from the week before. So yeah, we will definitely talk about it. And you're right, it will be a somber day, and it's something we'll remember we should remember. It's something we want to make sure our players understand, because this is a part of history we can't forget.
As you've looked at Southeast Missouri, what will they do coming in here, and what challenges can they present your team?
Well, they give you some unique challenges for our offense against their defense. They give you some funky stuff. They're a little bit like us sometimes, defensively. They give you some things that you have to work on. They got 3 big guys inside. They really challenge you to run the football. And then they have some edge players that really come off. They have some speed there. I thought they had a really tough, I think Southern Illinois is one of the best teams in the country, talent-wise. You look at them last year against South Dakota State. We personally know is a really good football team. They had South Dakota State down at South Dakota State. So they got a tough opener against a really good football team. And then I think the other challenge they had was they got a quarterback late who has the pedigree. Won a national championship at Hutchinson, JC. But they got him late. So I still think they're working out some of the kinks there. We like the receivers. We like the quarterback. We just think maybe he just needs to be in the system a little longer. So I think they will be greatly improved from week 1 to week 2.
That was, I don't know about you guys, but definitely sitting there listening how the feel was, getting to know how the football game goes for the players' view and the coaches. I definitely learned a lot. And Coach Keeler definitely made a lot of good points. He talked about everything that needed to be improved, expectations. Even Cody Crest talked about how he actually enjoyed kind of some of that time off, and then getting back up here, playing at full capacity. What do you guys think that's going to be going through all the players' head now that everything is at full capacity, every fan is here, and football is back?
I think there's definitely going to be a lot of pressure, knowing that everyone is looking and everyone's watching, and that high expectation of win for us. We just came off a national championship. We want to see it, but also it should give some, revving up and some confidence that, hey, I have my whole school and the town here ready to give it my all.
Definitely. I definitely think that this is something that the players have been looking forward to. They miss their fans. Obviously, they love it when they're all here. They're all out to support. But I definitely agree with you that this is going to add a little bit of pressure because this is the first game since 2019 since they have played at full capacity with all their fans here.
Definitely.
Now looking ahead at this matchup, Southeast Missouri State, Sam Houston. Obi, players to watch for the Bearcats entering this matchup with the Red Hawks.
I'm going to highlight one person on the defense, Jahari K, defensive end for the Sam Houston Bearcats. It is like the entire defense is centered around Jahari K getting to the quarterback in 2.5 seconds. That man blitzes off the edge. NFL comparison of Brian Burns with lightning quick agility, freakish athleticism. He has gotten to the quarterback consistently over the past season. I am looking forward to him today. Prediction for Jahari K just today, I'm going to say 2 sacks.
Okay. Kylan, looking on the offensive side of things.
Well, at Southeast Missouri, we have their starting quarterback number 5, CJ Ogbana. Right now, he's one of their start quarterbacks. Now, last game, he didn't have that much leeway. He's obviously going to be looking to rebound all those numbers. Last game, he only had 47 yards and only 1 touchdown. And looking at that, I feel like he's definitely going to want to get those numbers up. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunity for him. So definitely going to look out for a player like that.
Now, Ashlyn, offensively for the Bearcats, obviously you think about Eric Schmidt and Jaquez Ezzard, but from your perspective, who's to watch offensively for Sam Houston?
I think definitely is Jaquez Ezzard. He didn't play last week against Arizona, so I think once he's in the game, he's healed, he's going to give it his all being back in the stadium, and he'll be one to watch.
Now looking around the WAC and for the ASUN teams as well, because you got to watch them as well. Bearcats will have to face them along the way. Lamar just got underway with UTSA out in San Antonio. Obi, what are you thinking for that game for Lamar and UTSA?
I'm going to call it UTSA Roadrunners victory. Final score 48-24 UTSA.
I'm going to have to agree with Cody on that. I think that game is pretty predictable in my opinion.
UTSA.
Okay. Looking also for an ASUN team, Jacksonville State. They are taking on a big ACC powerhouse, Florida State, in Tallahassee. Tough game for Jacksonville State coming off of a loss to UAB. What's your thoughts on that?
Florida State's going to run over Jacksonville. Call in the ambulance, call in the mercy rule. Florida State, 66+ points.
So you're thinking they're going to blow them out of the water?
Steamroll.
Do you think they'll even get a number on the board?
3.
Okay, a field goal.
Cody, I think that's a little fanboy moment. It sounds like you are no mercy to the other team, like not even a care in the world.
Don't even want them to step on the field at this point. Why even come?
Save yourselves. Save yourself. Stay home.
I feel like that is a really good prediction, but I feel like I'm going to give hope to the other team, and anything can happen. Especially just anything can happen, really.
One more game before we take a look at the game at hand here today in Huntsville. You alluded it to a minute ago. The rival, Stephen F. Austin, is in Lubbock, taking on Texas Tech. You kind of already said what your thoughts on it, but for those that may have missed the first part, look at that matchup for the Lumberjacks and Red Raiders.
I'll give you a hint. Texas Tech is not losing this game. Ever.
I'm not a huge, we go to Sam Houston. I'm not a huge fan of the Lumberjacks, so I'll go with Texas Tech on that.
I feel like we all can agree out here at Sam Houston Bearcats. No one's really a fan of SFA out here, but personally, I look at the overall team. I wouldn't count them out just yet. You never know what could happen. They could execute it way better. Teams have off days. So I'm gonna go with what you agree, but I wouldn't count SFA out just yet.
Now with teams like Tarleton and Dixie playing some Division II teams, we won't take a look at them because obviously that should go in favor of them. Then again, stranger things happen. But now for the task at hand. Southeast Missouri State in town taking on the Bearcats of Sam Houston. An all-out matchup is definitely going to be on the way. I'm calling the game, so I cannot provide a prediction for that. Obi, Redhawks or Bearcats?
I'm going to go Bearcats in the game of the week, a close one, and I'm going to predict a high-scoring affair, all offense, gun range. Eric Schmidt, over 300 yards. I'm going to say Sam Houston takes the victory, 42-38 Bearcats.
Eric Schmidt, he already has 268 yards and 3 touchdowns under his belt, so he's definitely going to rack up some more numbers there. And also with Jaquez Ezard being back this game, that's another player to add. That's another player that's going to add up points just as much. And Trevor Williams, as we stated earlier, was just named by the WAC Conference Defensive Player of the Week about a week and a half ago. So he's going to rack up points just as much as everyone else.
I think I'm going to go with the Bearcats. We just came off winning national championships. We won the first game of our WAC Conference. I'm going to go with the Bearcats on the win. We're going to be winners by halftime. I'm going to say, let's say, around the 30s, maybe 16 for the other team. Bearcats.
And that game is kicking off in just almost half an hour. The ways you can catch this matchup between the Redhawks of Southeast Missouri State and the Bearcats of Sam Houston. This game is being broadcasted live on ESPN+. So if you have that, you're able to check it out there. Again, game kicking off at 6 p.m. Radio-wise, this game is also being broadcast on 2 radio stations. 101.7 KSAM has the game for you with a pregame at 5:30 as well. Rob Hibb and Brian Adams are on the call for that game. And also on the campus radio station, 90.5 KSHU, the Cat Huntsville. Myself, Nicholas Pola, will be on the call for that one coming up here in just a few moments. So with that said, I got to get up there, up to the press box, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in here on the Bearkat Countdown to kickoff. For Obi McDowell, Kylan Lawrence, Ashlyn Anderson, I'm Carlos Zimmermann. Let's get ready. Bearcats getting set to take on the Redhawks of Southeast Missouri State. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time as we'll be back here on October 9th for the game against Lamar. So long, everybody, and have a pleasant tomorrow.